So Karen is the greatest.
Yes.
Karen is a Karen Orr. And Karen really promotes and has really dedicated her life to Ahavat Am Yisrael and Lev Echad and Am Echad. And I'm very inspired by her dedication and her desire to promote true brotherly and brethren love amongst us. And she really, really lives it. And she really, really cares about bringing Geula and spreading the light. Reminds me a lot of Yehudis, really, who also dedicates her, every waking moment of what can we do for Am Yisrael? How can we promote awareness? Which is, you inspired me to, with my little part when I I would like to speak about Avad Yisrael. So,
you're stealing my show.
Yeah, no, we're rubbing elbows. We're rubbing elbows.
We're on the same wavelength.
Yes, we're on the same wavelength. You're gonna go crazy because half the things she was saying, I'm like, oh no, I think we're gonna be talking about we didn't prepare any of this. It's like
we were gonna schmooze before, and then you tell me what you're gonna talk about. I'm like, wait a minute, that's also what I'm thinking.
Right.
So
Karen is amazing.
The way it's supposed to come to be able to give it over, Hashem. You should hear the words that you need to hear, and we should be able to absorb it, and it should affect us in the way it needs to be affected. As Hashem.
Amen.
And Hashem should help. It should really give Yeshua for everybody. So whatever I say to that should be that it's dedicated to the two Pele brothers, and and there was a Chatan that they also, I can't remember his name, and it was Rabbi Elimelech Milizhinsk's yahrzeit yesterday. So I actually, when I was in seminary, and also should be Zchutot Hagen Aleinu, was a big tzaddik who promoted Ahavat Yisrael. And it should be also the refuah shlema for the father. Really, Baruch Hashem, he's getting better. He was zocha to be at the birth of his son today.
Wow.
She gave birth in the same hospital that he's in. And I was like, wow, so touched to hear that. And I think when I think what has happened in the world in the past month or so, it's just like a tremendous awakening. There's a torerut. And really, that's what I felt. This was going back when I started Lev Ha'am. I heard about women getting together to promote Ahavat Yisrael, Emunah B'Hashem, Todah Hashem. And I said, let's do it. Let's get it out there. It was like Erev Tisha B'Av, literally like a couple of days before. And I translated the materials that they gave me. A couple of women who joined together just to start this initiative here in Israel. And I was still in the States before I made Aliyah. And it just touched my heart. I was like, of course, like, let's do it, And we just did a little clip, and everybody, they were all mitnadvot, all ladies that just wanted to help, like about 50 ladies that just joined together. And I said, let's do it. Like, literally, it was Tisha B'Av here, not yet in America. And somebody sent me a clip, and she helped me with the flyer, put it out there. And overnight, on Tisha B'Av, we got over 200 women on Zoom, like for 5 hours. I don't know. Yehudis was on there. A lot of you were on there. And it was just like for... No, Lev Ha'am, when I was in America still. That was when I came here. But over 200 women just joined because everybody just wanted to be united together. And Baruch Hashem, since then, I felt like Klal Yisrael needs this. Like, let's just do it more and more. And I joined with Miriam, and I joined with Orit. And I just try to promote more of this because I feel like I need it also. Like, we just want to feel like we're not alone. And a lot of times we're in galut and we feel like we're alone. We feel the aloneness. That's the galut that we're in. That everybody feels this pain. And I'm sorry to go there, but we need to talk about it, right? Everybody has a tzar. Everybody, like, as Ori was saying this, and I'm thinking like, yeah, I want to do this, but I still feel like in my heart, there's a lot of pain. When you hear about other people's pain, I don't want to share here, not good news, but like we all hear and we all heard what happened this past month. And yet it's Adar. We're supposed to be Marbeh B'Simcha. So Hashem, what are you doing to us? Like we want to be Marbeh B'Simcha, and yet like, this mother just lost 2 children, another mother lost 2 children, like, should be refuah shlema to those in the Tel Aviv attack last week. Somebody can mention their names if you can look it up. B'ezrat Hashem, Yeshua for everybody. Refuah shlema, B'ezrat Hashem. So we need to do something. We all need to step up. And I keep hearing, and I've heard several times Rabbi Jacobson, Rabbi Y.Y. Jacobson, he talks from the heart, and he says, we're ambassadors of faith. That's what we are. Hashem put us in this generation to spread our light. But yet, we have so much darkness. Everybody has darkness. Whether it's, struggling with your kids, trying to marry off your kids, refuah, right? Lack of emunah, kids going off the derech, I don't like to call it that, right? Just people lacking. We're lacking. What's Hashem doing? What does he want from us? And really, we go back to the Bet HaMikdash was destroyed. The last Bet HaMikdash was destroyed. We know it was destroyed because of Sinat Chinam. So there's something still that we need to fix because we're all still here. And I think that, that's what gave me the push to be able to just join together with other women and say, you're not alone. You're not alone. And I just learned this beautiful Torah this year from Rabbi Lubinsky, Shlita. And yesterday I'll read the meditation, on Sunday, which would related to it. And this levad that we feel, and he connected it also, Rabbi Lubinsky connected it to the light of Hanukkah. I think it was Zot Hanukkah. That the levad that a person feels has to be switched. Because every person feels that emptiness because Hashem wants to bring out more of our light. And what we really need to do is understand that it's Hashem within us, talking to us. That there's something that we need to be me'orer within us. And I'm looking at some of the women that I know here. Each one of you have done that. I mean, Devorah Das, with her package that she carries, she's inspiring women around the world and giving emunah and chizuk, with her pain. Every day she talks about, oh, look what happened to me, and she says how she went through it, and then other women here, I don't want to, mention names, but we all have something that we're carrying. So what does Hashem want? He wants us to fill that levad and to switch it to the en od milvado. En od milvado. To fill it with light of Hashem. And when you fill it with the light of Hashem, that burden doesn't weigh as much. That burden doesn't carry us or weigh us down. And we do often, sometimes we feel like, I don't want to get out of bed today. Like, I just don't want to do this. Like, I have no koach, right? I can't do this anymore. I can't deal with this anymore. I was a single mom for many years, and I have friends, a lot of friends that were in that position and are still in that position. Agunot, women who couldn't get a get. It's like a constant, like you always have to deal. There's always struggle, parnasa, struggle, battle with visitation rights and all these, the things that come in hand with a single mom. Okay, but everybody has their predicament. Nobody would want to switch, roles. So what do we need to do? How are we going to get out of this darkness? And we just finished the Parashiot of Mitzrayim, where we feel, where we see, we hear how Bnei Israel, if they were not going to be taken out, if Hashem wouldn't take them out, they would not have been taken out. And most of them died in Mitzrayim. It was a small minority that came out of Mitzrayim. How come? Didn't they realize they're entrenched in the tum'ah? They're entrenched in that negativity. And they couldn't take it anymore. Sivlotam, we read it on Pesach. We're going to go into Pesach. We're going to read what the mitzvah is to talk about it. Vehigadeta lebincha, haggadah, lagid. It's haggadah. We have to talk about it. That's one of the things we have to do is talk about it. Not keep it here. One of the things we need to do is talk about it. So one of the things that Miriam said, we see that Bnei Israel, what does it say? We learn from there a lot of the lashonot of tefillah. Rav Shimshon Pincus talks about different lashonot of tefillah. Vayizaku el Hashem, vayitzaku. There's other lashonot in the Torah with the avot, vayatar. A lot of lashonot that we're familiar with, they come from the pain of Am Yisrael. So what do we need to do? Call out to Hashem. And what do? Hashem doesn't listen to me. He doesn't care about me. Why should I daven? Doesn't mean anything. I keep davening for the same thing again, again, and again. Why do I have to daven? Why should I daven? Everything's the same. Nothing's changing. And we go into that negativity. A little bit what Ari was saying also, like, what do you mean? I just daven. Look, I'm at the end already. Like, again, I didn't have kavana. We go into the self-criticism. And I speak for myself as well. I'm sure we all go through this. So how am I going to call out to Hashem? By constant, it's an avodah. It says, "Va'avadetem et Hashem Elokechem." Va'avadetem et Hashem Elokechem b'chol avavchem. Mahi, what's the avodah? Avodah shebalev. Rashi says, "Zuhi tefillah." That's tefillah. And what's tefillah? Palal. Litpalel, we say. It's a hif'il form. We're doing something to ourselves. What are we doing to ourselves? If it occurs and it talks about it, we're judging ourselves. Palal, plilim, our judges. We're trying to see, like, I want to be different. I don't want to be who I am. And when I change who I am, when I change my perspective, and I understand that tefillah is able to get me to a different level, right? And then I'm davening from a different place because I did tshuva, because I understand that I'm not a good friend. I should knock myself. I'm a good friend. I didn't do that again. I didn't do it right. We're always self-criticism mode. And a lot of what these ladies do as facilitators of healing is help women who are in depression, who are in anxiety, who don't think that it's worth it to live anymore. Orit's going to be having a campaign soon. She's trying to save lives. She's trying to save lives. Women are coming and turning to her and to Miriam. She told me she spent hours talking to somebody who wants to commit suicide. Like, this is what's happening. We look at our community. How many suicides, attempts, and lo aleinu, have happened, tragedies that happened just within the past year. So, I mean, something's got to change. We have to reveal our light. And I'm talking from a place that I know what it's like, as a single mom, going through different struggles. It's hard. Parnasa. We all go through our galut. We all go through our mitzrayim, our tzar, our narrow place. But what we have to realize is that we're not levad. That levad has to be switched over. That Hashem gave you this pekala. He gave us this Mitzrayim, because we're in Mitzrayim also here. We're in Eretz Yisrael, but we're really in Mitzrayim. Look what's happening with all the protesting and all the stuff that's going out there, with the government. And Hashem wants Rachmana Libabai. Hashem wants our heart. And we have to go into our heart, feel our pain, because that's the first step in therapy is do not deny that you have this pain. Right? Or we spoke about it, she's giving a course now. You feel this pain. Feel it. Acknowledge it. I'm in pain. Acknowledge the pain. And now what am I going to do with this? So what, you want me to be depressed? No. Acknowledging the pain is already one step towards coming out of it. If we keep pushing it down, what does that mean? That we're not acknowledging and we're not recognizing what Hashem gave us. Hashem wants something from me. What does he want? He wants it to fill it with light. So through tefillah, calling out to Hashem. It's the first step. The first step that when Hashem gave us the koach of dibur, to be able to talk to him, to be able to relate to him, to see him in our lives. And another step that I want to enter into that is of tefillah is gratitude. Gratitude is what's going to help us to come out of our negativity. Because when we are in negativity, what are we doing? I don't have any money. I don't have, I wish my house was bigger. I wish I was married. I don't have, I wish, I want, right? All the things. And why is Hashem doing this to me? We're all in the negativity. But what happens in gratitude? If you would stop for a minute, right? With all the negativity in our lives, can you thank Hashem for something? Of course. And when you start thanking Hashem for something, you start thanking Hashem for another something. When you thank Hashem for the little things, Hashem gives you bigger things to thank him for. And so when we start doing this, and I started this in my gullus, and I started a gratitude chat. Over 150 or 200 women are on it every day in gratitude, but not gratitude just only for good things, also for challenges. We speak about it. Now we're doing a 40-day challenge. We started Ta'anit Estel to every day be in gratitude and try to thank Hashem for the good and for the challenging. Why is that? How do you want me to thank Hashem for this pain that I'm carrying? A woman doesn't have children for so many years. You want me to thank Hashem for that? What do you want me to tell you? Hashem, thank you so much for giving me this tzar of not having children. What is that? That's gratitude. I don't feel gratitude, I'm just saying the words. So somebody came to her, the way it started is I saw this book in a shul when I went to visit my father. He was in the hospital. I stayed with my parents. And I went to shul and I see this book called Say Thank You and See Miracles, Rav Arush. Amalti Toda V'Noshati. And there are stories. It's not really Rav Arush's book that he wrote, but it's based on his garden of gratitude. And men and women writing stories of how the gratitude brought them the Yeshua. And I'm reading story after story, and I'm like, this is not for real. Like, this can't be real. Like, crazy stories. And one of the stories was a man and woman came to Rav Arush and said, we don't have children for 10 years. And it's very hard for us. So what does he tell them? Every day, go be in gratitude for half an hour every day. You want us to say Todah to Hashem that you gave us this challenge, this pain? Like, what do you say? And he says, Bezrat Hashem. The more you're going to thank Hashem, the more you're going to see the blessings in your life. So what's gratitude? Hakarat HaTov. Seeing the Tov is really emunah. It's really believing that what Hashem gave me is what I need to be able to make me who I am. It's really accepting the Ratzon of Hashem. And so they started doing it. They didn't really, it was hard for them. Each one he said separately. So then they decided they're going to talk about this and they're going to preach it to others. They started really doing a campaign of getting everybody to be in gratitude. And Baruch Hashem, a year later, they were zocheh to have a child. But through this gratitude. And there's several stories like this, accounts of people that have gone through the challenge and saw Yeshuot, because that's what gratitude is acceptance that Hashem gave it to me. So first step is to accept. The second step is to call out. Third step is to be able to acknowledge. What is Todah? Ani moda ala tov, right? Ani moda. What's leodot? It could be to be thankful, like we said, like Hodu Lashem, right? But it could be also to acknowledge. What am I acknowledging? I'm acknowledging what Hashem gave me. He gave it to me. If we all put our petals here, you would for sure take your own. Nobody wants somebody else's. Why? Because Hashem also gave me the tools to be able to carry this and to go through it. And we don't believe that. Because if we believe that, our whole perspective would change and our davening would change. And then we would be, Vayizaku al Hashem. We would call out to Hashem. And the reason Bnei Yisrael came out of that Mitzrayim was in the schut of their tefillot. And we know who were the ones and whose schut? B'schut nashim tzidkaniyot. Why? What did they have that the men didn't? Emunah. They kept having children. They beautified themselves for their husband. They saw the light. They saw the light at the end of the tunnel. They didn't wallow in the galut. They were looking forward to the aleph. If you add the aleph to the Geula, which is also exile, becomes Geula. They were able to see ahead because they put the aleph of emunah. From Geula to Geula. The aleph of alufo shel olam, of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Hashem is with us. Imo anochi b'tzara. Ele shemot Bnei Yisrael asher yardu Mitzrayma. Mitzrayma, it says, I think it's Mitzrayma, it's one more word, I think it's Mitzrayma, equals Shechina. That when they went down to Mitzrayim, the first pasuk that tells us they went down to Mitzrayim, Imo anochi b'tzara, the Shechina went down with them. Because when we're in suffering, we don't believe this. Because Hashem's punishing me. Why is he doing this to me? Really, it's Hashem is with us. But we have to bring him in. And one of the things that I said before, the Mirror mentioned, is to become a kli kibul. If you want to daven, you have to be a kli kibul to receive. Right? And that is opening up the siddur and opening up from your heart and really talking to Hashem, not only the siddur, before you open up the siddur, talking to Hashem. Having a relationship with Shimshon Pincus always spoke about his all his sefarim. You'll see it. Constant theme, because this is how he lived. He said people are in shul, they're running out before Aleinu, they're going to their daven, they're going to work, they're going to their day. What are you doing? Don't you need to daven? Don't you need Hashem to be able to be successful in learning, to be successful in your avoda? What are you skipping? The last Kaddish and the Aleinu, hold on. This is about the kesher with Hashem. Who gave you this opportunity to be here, to ask, to daven, to succeed? We just learned the bracha of Nishman Esra, Barech Aleinu. The whole entire bracha is all about our dependence to Hashem. Who's going to give us the rain? Right? Barech Aleinu doesn't even mention parnasa there. It's all about sustenance. Where does it come from? Hashem brings down the rain. What's the rain? Geshem, gashmiut. Matar. Matar, talu matar. What's matar? Matara. We have a goal. We want to get somewhere. Who's giving it to us? Hashem. Give it to us. Look, Baruch Hashem, we just had rain, right? It's March, Baruch Hashem, we had rain. I don't know if that happens so often in Eretz Israel, right? In America, it always happens. Thank you, Hashem. Everyone's complaining. It's pouring. I don't know if I could come out. I don't know. It's raining. Thank you, Hashem, for the rain. I'll tell you, Rabbi Rouge, I met him when he was in the States, and I remember him saying, like, he speaks, like, with such a smile and such a, like, everything he says is like, even if it's the silliest thing, but it's like, wow. So he was talking about to be grateful for every little thing. He says, you go to wash your hands. So, of course, you thank Hashem that you have zchut to be able to wash your hands. You have water. That's not what he said. He's like, thank you, Hashem, for giving me my feet to walk to the sink. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Hashem, for my hands to be able to pick up the kli. Thank you for the water to be able to flow. It's not just trickling. The water is warm. We don't have to turn on the dude. We have sun, Baruch Hashem. In America, you don't have to worry about that, right? But thank you, Hashem. Do you think about it? It's not freezing water. You're not in the middle of Russia. It's Baruch Hashem. You have a boiler. You have the dude. You have the sun. Do we think about that? But this is what he's saying. Every step, he goes, the fluffy towel, nice smell, right? Just everything, every little step. When we start doing that and we start recognizing the good in our life for the little things, which are not really so little, then we become Yehudim. Hashem wanted us to be named Yehudim. We're not Reuvenim, we're not Shimonim, we're not Benyaminim, we're Yehudim. And he wasn't the first or second child. It says by Leah. Why are we called Yehudim? By Leah. She was given more than her portion, right? Apam odet Hashem. Now I'm going to thank Hashem. How come she didn't thank him before? What's the story? That's a whole other discussion. But the whole 3 children was her connection with her husband. Every name was connected to her husband. She was establishing a relationship because really we know that Yaakov wanted Rachel. But this time she got more than her portion because if there were 4 imahot, each should have had 3 children, and now she got a 4th. Hashem gave her more than her portion. Apam odet Hashem. And this is now what we're saying. We have to be able, hapam, through our challenge, through our difficulty, to see Hashem and to thank Him and to acknowledge. Leodot, first acknowledge. The first thing we do, we wake up in the morning. You don't do anything else. You don't even have to wash your hands. What do you say? Modani, right? Modani al-fanecha. I acknowledge. I thank you, Hashem, that you even gave me back my neshama. Maybe I didn't deserve it. Maybe yesterday I did averot. But I don't know. But you gave it back to me. Matnat chinam. Do we think about that in the morning? No, we're busy running off. I have to go take care of the carpool. I have to this, I have to that. Just spend time to just sit there with Hashem without looking at your phone, without you're doing what you have to do. Just give yourself that time to reflect that Hashem gave me back my neshama. How much I have to be grateful for that. How Devorah Paleh would wish today that her children were here and they had their neshama. And from her we learn. Tonight she's being interviewed, even though it was interviewed really before because she had a baby. Look at that the same day. By Sivan Rav Meir, there was a live broadcast tonight about this initiative of Chavrusa Salon, and we said over 250 women joining or more locations, not women, locations around the world that are joining to learn about Todah and about Ahavat Yisrael. So she said in her shiva, I went to see her. I could not. I feel like everyone wanted to be there. I went there. There were people from up north, Be'er Sheva, Tel Aviv. I'm like, where you from? Where you from? I kept asking people. There were 2 tents. She thought in the beginning, okay, I'll sit shiva at home, she said. She didn't know. But then she realized, she goes, these are not my kids. These are Am Yisrael's children. That's what she said. These are Am Yisrael's children. You know what she asked for after the shiva, that a big kenes in Binyanei Uma? She said, I don't want these korbanot to be leshav, to be for naught. This was for Am Yisrael, because when there's an earthquake in the world, thousands of people died, the numbers are growing, da, 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 da. It's a catastrophe. Lo aleinu. In Am Yisrael, when one person dies, it's a catastrophe. It's an earthquake. Hashem shook us up big time this month. So what did she say? Right when she heard, thank you, Hashem, that you gave me this child for all these years. And during the Shiva, and they went around, they made magnets, and signs and posters. Al tomar uf, tomar perek uf. And she would tell her son, she would tell him, Yaakov, don't say oof. There's something he was complaining. There's a book that they read. And then he said it to her one day. Don't say oof. Don't say ugh. Enough. Tomar perek uf. What's perek uf? Mizmor letodah. Thank you, Hashem. And she told this to a group of kids that came, and they all said, I'm going to take upon myself Shabbat. I'm going to take upon myself Shmirat HaLashon. I'm going to take upon myself all different things, right, that they said. And after they said, she said, thank you so much, so beautiful. So I want to teach you this concept. The next time something goes wrong in your life, just recognize who it's from. And instead of saying, oof, instead of complaining, say thank you, Hashem. Say perek. Something we can take with us, because like we said, we each have our struggle. But when we start to see the good, we have in our eyes, there's a white part of our eye and the dark part of our eye, right? The darkest part, pupil. It's the darkest part of our eye, but that's what we look through. The nature of man really is really to see the bad, right? We automatically look at something like, why is that there? It doesn't matter, everything else is clean. Why is that spot there over there? You missed the spot, you didn't clean over there, and you tell your kid, Not you, but we oftentimes become, it's like, why didn't, it's always like the why. Rebbetzin Younger says, don't say lama. Nekudot. Lema. For what purpose? Not lama Hashem. Also madua. Madua, lama, they're both why? That's a complaint. Lema, for what purpose? Madua, ma de'ah. Mani lomedet mitzeh, mani yodat. To have a dat, to have a consciousness. What do I understand from this? What am I going to learn from this? How am I supposed to view this? Change it around and look from the white part of your eye. Not physically, right? But you understand, to see the good, to see the white. And it's all something we have to work on. And it's something that's going to elevate us. One of the things we learned, and I'm gonna end because it's giving Ori a chance to talk tonight, is Mitzrayim. We know Miriam, right? Miriam helped to save the whole Jewish people. She told her father, what are you doing? Right? What are you doing? You're going to stop having kids? No one's going to have any kids, What about the girls? Right? Miriam, Shon Mar. Isn't that interesting? We just had also in the Megillah, Mordechai, Moradachia, right? What's the Mar there? There's a Merirut. Merirut is a bitterness. But from Miriam, we learned that through the bitterness, we could see the Or, and we have Emunah. Emunah is the Em. Emunah is us. We have that ability. We are emotional beings, right? You tell your husband something, he's like, oh, that's nice. You don't feel good? I'll take a Tylenol. You know what I'm saying? Like, he'll just give you the solution. And you go to your friend and say, I don't feel good. Oh, I am so sorry, I don't feel good. Oh, you give her the compassion and the love, right? You feel it. And that's why we're created that way. And that's why we have this koach of holding on to the emunah. In this darkness, we each have to shine our light. If you're good at something, give it over to someone. You learn something, inspire someone. Start a share in your class. Start a Ahavat Israel group. I was going to speak about it. I'm not going to still read show. But start Ahavat Israel. And this is Ahavat Israel. Just getting together. Just getting together and talking and sharing and showing that you care for another. Pick up the phone. Enough with the texting. Pick up the phone and tell somebody, how are you? Because if you're going to run how are you, you're going to say, BH. BH. Well, what does that BH mean? BH, I'm crying right now. BH, I don't have money for food. BH, I don't, what, do you know what's going on? But when you hear her and you're like, what happened? You okay? Do you need anything? Right? You hear someone's voice, we're talking about the talking. That's what it means to connect. So this is very important to have groups like this. I encourage you all to join this initiative, not only for this week. Guys, come together, get some women, your neighbors, just to come together and learn about spreading more ahava. And the avodah that we're supposed to work on this week, Ahavat Yisrael, she sent me the first lesson, is to smile. Stretch yourself a little bit and smile. You don't feel like smiling? Smile in here. What is a smile? A curve, what does it say? A curve, a frown turned upside down, right? Meaning you feel like frowning. But really, what do we learn? Your smile is Reshut HaRabim. Everybody sees your face. What gives you the zchut to think that you can't smile. Everybody sees your face. You're in the Reshut HaRabim. Everybody sees you. So it's not about you. It doesn't matter how you feel. Put on a smile anyway. And you know what happens? There are certain hormones that get sent to the brain, even if you put on a fake smile, and they help you feel better. Right? This is what they say. The study is about this. So put on a smile, even for yourself. Acknowledge, thank. And I want to tell you, Rabbi Wallerstein, I have to mention him. I was reading his book on Shabbat. It's so hard for me to say that. It was Zachariah Wallerstein. I went to his cave and I was just like, Rabbi, you have to be here. You need to help us to get Mashiach here. But you have a bigger zchut to be there now, and hopefully he'll daven for us to be able to be zocha to get Mashiach. But he loved Am Yisrael. This was Rabbi Wallerstein. He was an Ohev Yisrael. I worked with him. He started a Nava through my school where I taught in high school. He said, these girls have nothing to do in the summer. Let's give them something. Let's start learning with them. Give them Zumba. He gave them whatever they wanted that they asked for. With him and Rabbi Goldblasser in a small room in a little yeshiva, he started Oranava. And then they said we need a building because all of a sudden the room was like, there's no room for everybody to come. Everybody wanted to hear him. And he saved lives. Literally, the Shemot, he saved lives just from his Avat Yisrael, from his love for one another. He said his book about tefillah. Says a siddur that falls apart belongs to somebody who isn't. But it was so beautiful. And he says, why not? Because if your siddur is falling apart, that means you're talking to Hashem a lot. That means you have bitachon. That means you're holding on to the kav. You're holding on to your connection to Hashem no matter what's happening. Right? Even if you're in a pain, you're calling out to Hashem. The siddur that's falling apart belongs to somebody who isn't. And he said one more thing is that whenever there's rejection, sometimes we get rejected. Things don't go our way, right? He tells a story of a girl. She wanted to go to seminary. She had like top grades. She went to a great high school. Parents had money. They offered the seminary lots of money, dedicate a building, She didn't get accepted. Another place didn't get accepted. Rejection. Parents didn't know what to do. Davening. All of a sudden, there's a new seminary opening up. But she said, okay, I'll go to the seminary. She ends up going to the seminary. Her roommate was going through struggle and pain. And she was her rock. She was her support system. And she told her, you saved my life. Then she understood why she had to go to the seminary. Sometimes we face rejection. Sometimes Hashem doesn't say yes. We ask. He doesn't say yes. You want me to keep going? Yes. Kavel Hashem, chazak v'emes libecha v'kavel Hashem. And know that Hashem is listening, and every tefillah is bringing you closer to your Yeshua. You don't know where that Yeshua is. You don't know when it's going to come. Maybe to your children, maybe to your grandchildren. Maybe the zchut of our ancestors, we're all sitting here, right? And we'll be zocher to bring Mashiach. You don't know what tefillah is going to open that door. And the rejection is just one step closer to Hashem saying, here, this is what you needed, not that. So don't give up. Hold on to your emunah. Thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And know that Be'ezrat Hashem in the zchut of Nashim Tzidkaniyot nigalu u'bizchutam nigael. Through our emunah, the imahot, all of us are going to bring the Geula Be'ezrat Hashem. Let's hold on to that. Hold on to our gratitude. Hold on to emunah beHashem. And also Ahavat Yisrael. Spread your love. Give your heart. Rachman aliba, Hashem wants our heart. Every little thing that you do matters. Ladies, I'm telling you, every little thing you do matters. You have no clue how every tefillah, every act that we do is shaking up. It's making a big balagan in Shamayim. Look what this woman said. She said, like she just said it, and like the whole world's talking about it. Chilonim. Join together this week to talk about Todah Hashem. Not like, where's that come from? One person. Everyone can make a roshem. We have to believe that Hashem is listening to us and believe in your koach and believe in your tefillot. And may Hashem answer all our tefillot. Shimaleh Hashem kol mishalot libcha letovah. And you should know and you should see that they're letovah. I told her before I started, I don't know what I'm saying, and I don't even think I looked at this. So Hashem Tzapatay Tiftach was a good tefillah. Right. If anyone has any comments or questions,
I just want to give you the name of those two boys.
Please.
Or Ben Natalie.
Or Ben Natalie.
And Rotem Ben Chava.
Rotem Ben Chava, Hashem yishlach lirfuah shlema, lirfuat hanefesh b'toch sha'ar chole amo Yisrael, v'nomer amen. Thank you for that.
one room, there's a little boy, a toddler, 3.5 years old, that's going into major cardiopulmonary surgery this week. Maybe it's like Ben Noah Simcha that he should have a foolish
Amen.
that his parents will be able to raise the rest of their family, that his grandparents will be able to help heal the process. And they should all support him.
Amen. Amen. Wash them out. Put the group.
Amen.
So introduce or read. Anybody has any
Can I
questions?
just have one name? Somebody just wrote to me,
Sure.
she's listening in. And she wants to a daughter who just had a baby, and she's not doing well. She had to go back to the hospital with her mother, and the baby's fine, I guess, for sure. But let me just get her name quickly, because she, Shoshana Bela, but Masha Sarah.
שם שציין שושנה בילה בת מאשה שרה פרושת פות הנפש פות תוך שעה חולה עמו ישראל ונאמר amen. Okay, I'm going to introduce our wonderful Orit Esther writer, which every time I speak with her or I speak, I have a zchut of giving a class with her. It's like, I was like, wow, I'm giving a class with her. Because she's just like, after hearing her story and hearing her shiur and reading her books, she has such a big heart, and she worked on herself, and she was always working on herself, and you feel it so genuine. Everything she says is coming from her heart because she the Bala Buddha, and she spreads Orit, that's her name. She spreads and emunah. That's how she healed herself, and she helps many other people to get healed through her or emunah energy. And she started with Or Talk, which is a daily inspiration that she sends out to probably thousands by now, right? Maybe.
I don't look at my likes, I look at the watches.
Hundreds,
I
thousands.
do it for myself, whoever wants to listen.
They just
go ahead.
listen, and she's constantly giving chizuk to Klal Yisrael through her healing and energy work that she does, and shiurim that she gives. And you should look her up if you haven't yet. Bezrat Hashem, I have to put a plug in because I'm one of the people trying to help her to promote this in a bigger way, to help more of Am Yisrael because they need it. People should not wallow in the misery and feel that there are people out there that care about them. Even Miriam has facilitators offering free services, both of them. So Bezrat Hashem is going to be having a campaign starting March 22nd, a week from today. Please join us, donate, send it out to other people, get other people to donate. It's really for saving lives, to be able for her to promote and to do what she does and to help more of Am Yisrael. Please join us in this campaign and be ambassadors. If you'd like to be an ambassador, just to send out the link to your friends, call them, invite them to join. Please be in contact with Orit or myself, and we'll send you all the information. And Bezrat Hashem, should be zochet to have yeshuot from everybody joining together. So I want to welcome Orit. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Miriam. Rubbing elbows with everybody here. It's so nice being here. So nice being in the company of so many beautiful neshamas.
Yes.
Thank you, Hashem. Thank you. And Bezrat Hashem, you would think we all just like planned this whole evening out, and we know exactly what we're going to say. It's like, wow, the synergy here is beautiful. So I'm going to speak just a short while, and then I'd like to take us through a little meditation because I really feel like, today we want to make sure that everything that we learn is integrated fully in our consciousness. And one of the ways that we do this, Miriam said, we want to integrate it through hitbonenut and through inner contemplation and quieting the mind. And we're talking about tefillah, we're talking about davening, we're talking about having a real, genuine relationship with Hashem, with our Creator, and really revealing within ourselves the part within ourselves that we don't even know exists. So I want to just tap into the idea that during the month of Adar, we're still here, we read about the building of the Mishkan. And if we're already going to talk about the whole idea of preparing ourselves for the ultimate Yetziat Mitzrayim and coming out of our Mitzrayim, and what is this whole concept of this? Every day you have to remind yourself that you're coming out of Mitzrayim. What is this Mitzrayim? This Mitzrayim, this Egypt really is a state of mind. It really is a constricted state of mind of the things I feel stuck on, the things that I feel I'm powerless when I look at in my life. the areas of my life where I feel like I'm limited and something is holding me back and I feel shackled and I feel like, right? And it's 3 steps forwards and 2 steps back. And Hashem says that the building of the Mishkan is supposed to happen. You're supposed to read about it during the time of Adar, where Hashem is living, Hashem is residing in us. And Hashem wants us to read about this whole building of the Mishkan. What is this Mishkan? Mishkan is a mashkanta. The Mishkan is your mashkanta. It is your mortgage. It is your collateral. It's given to you on condition. Hashem says, build for me a Mishkan. Build for me a lev mevin, a heart, a caring heart, a knowing heart. And I'm giving you this opportunity to have a heart that pulsates with love for your fellow Jew, the love of yourself, love of Hashem. I'm giving you the opportunity to live a rich, filled life that pulsates with feeling, with emotion, with heart, with the ability to expand and share yourself with somebody else. And where am I giving you that opportunity? While you're traveling in the desert, when you're looking around and there's no life, and it appears to be that you're all alone, and it feels as though there's nothing here to save you. There's just rattlesnakes, and there's cactuses, and there's no wells, and there's no people, and there's no inhabitants around you. And Hashem says, that's the place where I want you to build and feel me. I want you to feel me when you're traveling through the desert. And what do we do with this Mishkan? We build it, we journey, we stop, we encamp, we move forward again. And this is the process of life. The process of life, the way to get out of Mitzrayim, the way to come to the promised land, the way to finally get to that place of receiving the Holy Torah is when you walk forward and you encamp and you stop and you build and you open your heart and you find more of Hashem and you realize this is a mishkanta. This is my life. I signed on this bill. Hashem gave me something so that I could build. Hashem gave it to me on loan so that I can make and transform and become and change, and I could spread this light out to others. And yes, in the desert, I'm going to find someone else who also feels alone, someone else who also feels that they're journeying and they're encamping and they're moving forward and they're stopping and they feel stuck in their lives just like me. And at the end of the day, like Karen said, if we put all the peckle right here in the middle, it's so funny because I sometimes say, yeah, I would probably redeem my package back. But you know what? If I would open up the package of somebody else, be like, oh, you too? I thought I was the only one who had that husband. I thought I had the only one who had that child. And at the end of the day, we share so much in common that we really should not really feel alone at all, because we have to understand that we're all traveling in this desert. So Rabbi Nachman brings down something so beautiful, and he says, so how do you make that lev nevim? How do you open up that heart? At the end of the day, we're all in pain. And we really almost say to ourselves, like, how do I make room in my heart for somebody else? I'm like, there's so much going on. How do you allow yourself to expand and feel something else? And Rabbi Nachman says that just like when you have to kasher a keli, and you have to go ahead and you take a vessel, how do you kosherize it? You have to purge it. You have to put it through the fire. So Rabbi Nachman says, how do you make that heart? What do you do? You have to purge. You have to burn away the impurities that sit there in your heart. Going back to what Miriam was saying, you have to be able to daven. You have to be able to ignite. You have to be able to allow yourself to feel. A feeling heart is a heart that also feels pain. Not only the pain of myself, but I have to allow myself to say, yeah, there is room. Let me allow my heart to feel the flaming pain of also my neighbor. And let me join in her. Let me recognize that her pain is my pain, that we're all encamping, we're all journeying, we're all going to the promised land together. Am Yisrael is a nation that has a shared fate of persecutions, but also has a shared faith of miracles. And we are all in this together. And if we try to travel this journey alone, we won't make it through the desert. We all need each other. Exactly as Karen says, we need to gather together. We need to come together. I need to see your eyes. You need to feel my heart, and I need to feel yours. I can't do this alone. And mom is like, I'm going to cry because I can't bear the pain of my own pain, of your pain. But when I'm together with you, then we could do it together. I'm going to give you my tears and you're going to give me your tears. And yes, we could share together in this pain. And there's no other way. There's just so much collective pain and there's so much individual pain that if we think we could do it alone, we cannot. Don't try to. And don't think that if you're going to hear somebody else's plight, you're not going to have room to process your own. It's not true. The opposite. You're, again, like I said, once you're going to be the vessel to receive from someone else, and once you're going to be able to give to her, and she'll be able to hold you, and that's how we're going to go and travel through this desert process together. So I want to share with you 3 words of advice, because I do believe in practicalities, and I do want to share 3 pieces of advice to try to help us open up our hearts. Like, what can I really do? Tachlis, like, come on, Marie Esther, like, what can I really do to make this my reality? So I want to refer to Sefer Daniel, and he writes in there, he says, those who turn the many to righteousness are like the stars. What does that mean? It means, how do I enable somebody else to feel their righteousness, to feel their goodness? How do I enable righteousness to even become a reality? That I should feel good. I should feel the tzidkus inside of me. That I should feel that. What does it mean to feel righteous? It means to feel the godly spark. Kadosh Baruch Hu. He's kadosh. He's righteous. I want to feel that Hu in me. How do I do that? And so for Sefer Daniel, we read, we want to become a star. What does a star do? A star radiates. Here we learn from Sefer Daniel, I have to share myself. I have to be a radiation of light. And what does a star do? A star generates warmth. A varma yid. Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh said, be a varma yid. I don't know a lot of Yiddish, but I know that. Be a varma yid. Be a warm Jew. Just share yourself. Allow yourself to be vulnerable in front of, yes, even in the middle of ShopRite or in the middle of Super Sal. Like, allow yourself. Pull yourself over to the side and say, let's talk. Let me share with you. Like Karen said, don't just say BH, right? Don't just say Baruch Hashem. Say Baruch Hashem. It's really hard for me. How's it for you? And be prepared to share your warmth, to receive the warmth of someone else, and to radiate warmth and to radiate light, because that's what stars do. Number 2, judge other people in favor. I know we heard this. We heard this time and time again. And here again, I want to refer us to Rabbi Nachman. Rabbi Nachman brings down a beautiful, beautiful commentary in a verse in Tehillim, and he says, and we read this just now. Isn't that funny? Out of all the Tehillim, that's another thing. Out of all the Tehillim we read this pasuk. Ve'od me'at ve'en rasha ve'hitbonanta al mekomo ve'eneno. And Rabbi Nachman brings down a beautiful, beautiful commentary, and he says like this. And he says, what does it mean? Ve'od me'at ve'en rasha ve'hitbonanta al mekomo ve'eneno. Or soon, I'm just going to translate. He says, soon you'll recognize that there's no wickedness, there's no evil. You'll take a look at his place and you'll realize it's gone. So you're basically, what he's saying is, you're going to look at a Russia, and then soon again you're going to look again, and you're going to see that the Russia is not there anymore. That's basically what's being brought down here.
I tell you that I was thinking about that pasuk when I said it.
Really?
I was like, wow, this is what you wanted us to say at the Yanuka.
Oh, wow.
This is what Hashem wants.
Yes, that's what he wants us to, right, exactly. He wants us to focus on this Nikuda Tova, on this thing. What is, Rabbi Nachman says, what does that mean? That soon you're going to look at him, first you're going to see the Russia, and then you're going to look again. So he says it's exactly what it is. Rabbi Nachman says, every time you want to look at somebody, turn your head away, think to yourself, a nikudat tova, bring to your mind the shared oneness that you have with this person. Think about something that you share with this other person that you're looking at. What is that? AKA your neshama. You have something in common with this other person. What is it? You have a shared something with them, right? Turn away and remind yourself that you have something in common with this person. What is that commonality that you share with this person that you're looking at? And then turn back. And even though you first judged them and you saw an evilness, you saw a bad trait, you saw an unrefined speck of somethingness, an attribute that sort of, really ticked you off at that moment. But if you turn around and you allow yourself to feel compassion, to feel a sense of oneness with the person, and then turn back, soon you're going to see, take a look at his place, and you're going to see that Rasha is eneno. It's not there anymore. So basically what that means is take a double take. Whenever you want to say something, just literally, physically turn your head around, turn to the side, think to yourself, where is my shared fate with this person? What is it about this person that I'm seeing now in them? What can I see in myself? Can I have compassion? Can I just take one second, just turn away from what I just saw and just try to judge them in favor and then turn back? I guarantee you probably won't see them in the same light, right? And recognize that you too, and they too have pain. We all have pain. There's no such thing as a mean person. There's a person in pain. And if I only knew that when I was a youngster, right? That when we were bullied, we all had those bullying moments, right? If we only realized that person in front of us is a person in pain, and they're expressing their pain in a place of anger and like Miriam was saying, from an unrefined element that needs to be refined. And if we'd only realize that hiding, I always say that as low as a person can go is as high as a person can ascend. Right? If they really went down to that point, can you imagine the potential of what they can do if they just refine that? So let's maybe try to help them. Now, if I can see them in that light, that energy travels. So if I can turn away and try to develop some compassion, when my eyes are the window to my soul, when I look back at them, I can radiate that which I just judged them in favor. When I look back at them, I could radiate that back out to them. And from there, they can change just automatically because I changed my perception to them. They can now just